You guys killed it. For a video that got less than 5,000 views to have nearly 800 likes, thank you. You guys are helping us spread the word when it comes to a more sustainable way to approach your bodybuilding. So it doesn't go unnoticed, and on my end, I promise to do my best and continue to get better as an educator, as a messenger of what we're trying to do here. Okay, so cardio. Today, coming off my 2 refeeds, I think I'm gonna push pretty freaking hard. And then, because I'll feel fine. Yeah, today feels like off season. And I'm not just saying that. Bodybuilders say dumb shit like that all the time, but I mean it. So we'll push hard. I'll show you guys just how hard I push before I kind of transition back into like my normal deficit. Let me just state that shit was easy, but coming off those high days, life in general is. So it only gets harder from here. So because of that, again, we're gonna be a tiny bit more assertive today, just based off like what I can handle. Go with the flow of the day, but it's probably gonna be a little bit more assertive than anything I've done prior to this, and then it should taper off as like the week goes on, because I'm further and further away from like my last like checkpoint, my last like rest stop, the refeeds. So smiling now, but hey, peep me later this week. Okay, someone froze a kimchi. It was definitely a prep mind crime. So it was either Cynthia, because I'm pretty sure she used it last, but it also might have been me, because I might have just seen it out and put it away. Nevertheless, one of the 2 dieters, wasn't the dogs, certainly was not the dogs, froze the kimchi. So this will be a fruit-only breakfast. All right, if there is like weird previous dieting trauma shit that I do, it's like getting into the habit of like eating full bags of shit. Like I feel like I have to eat the whole thing or I won't eat it. Caught that one. So what I'll do is have half of this bag and have a little bit more variety in my diet via the other wonderful fruits we have. Haley, we're eating like Fitzbos with bleached body parts. All right, Oreos though. Okay, look at that. We got 3 fruits instead of just 1. There we go. I think it was 4 whole eggs and then 2 servings of egg whites. And that's gonna be meal 1 on this like, hey, let's go hard because we can day. Finally, on that note, I've been pretty bad about getting back to the YouTube comments, but that's exactly what I'm going to do after I eat my breakfast. Because I appreciate you guys hanging out. And quite often what we pull from there is what I pull from there gets used when it comes to these things. So, man, look at this meal. I will say this. I look at this and I'm like, man, this is so fucking good for you. I should do this for myself in the off season. It just takes time. That's all. And it probably wouldn't be this nice looking if I wasn't presenting it to you guys. So I could probably still get it done, right? Because I'd just be like that sort of deal. All right, time to grub. Saying something?
I said, damn, look at that fruit.
Oh, I was being fit shamed over here. Okay.
Oh, what?
All right, just wrapped up a team meeting, and here's the evidence. All right, bowl of Greek yogurt, usually in the 400 to 500-ish grams. Between 200 to 300 grams of cherries, give or take, somewhere around there. But that's my pre-workout. Had that halfway through the meeting. My beautiful girlfriend was kind enough to bring it in, and now it's time to go train. Still the best part of this day, of my day, like any day. It's just still everything to me. Let's see if it stays that way. The post-workout experience today. We have, I think, 10 ounces of top sirloin, an assortment of veggies, and probably one more meal, and then we'll call it good for the day. So again, other side of these refeeds, I'm coming out pretty assertive, It's cake. I don't feel it. Like I still feel like been well fed recently type of good. All right, y'all. So I'm going to sign off with this one right here. I think that is what this week is going to look like. Digging hard. You know what? I'll sign off for this week with the morning. The morning weigh-in, and you'll see what it did relative to my previous weigh-ins. I might not get a low. Sometimes it works that way, especially after a big heavy leg day. Sometimes I'm just so damn inflamed the day after. Have one more meal to go, and yeah, that is it. We'll probably just have some protein powder. We'll have some protein powder, and then it's... All right, so visually, that's the leanest I've looked so far, this whole prep. That title low, got what I wanted. I was assertive, right? Deficit was pretty steep yesterday, but I got to pull back today. All right, back with another one. Let's see. All right, so, geez, I came out the gates flying this week with a deficit, and it definitely impacted some things. However, this day was done prior to the digging. So I started on Tuesday pretty assertively, as you guys will see. And so this day was actually quite good. I felt totally in control of like my performance, my output. So this was a good time. So I guess we'll start off with what we're doing here. This is the arm and shoulder day. It's more, in my case, for the arms than it is for the shoulders. In regards to how the whole week works, this just creates the least amount of overlap. So arms, I don't enjoy. Didn't put it up. I was sharing the bench with another member, and forgot to adjust it. I have been doing that a lot of late, like putting dumbbells in the wrong side of the rack, things like that. So I don't know if it's prep brain or me being in the zone. Probably a combination of those things. Ascending sets on this. Again, reason for this, first set going from 0 sets to 1 set probably has the most bang for your buck, even if it's later. And if it's, I guess more importantly, further away from failure. But still, it makes the most strides in regards to the contributes to the adaptations that we want, which again, even though it is muscle maintenance, that's the net we're going for here. It still kind of works the same way. Of course, context here, like I'm leaner than I should be, than my body would like. This is about as lean as I should be at this point. But because of that, again, we're just a little limited. So I'm usually upping the load and getting closer to failure, which again works when it comes to, again, just that general idea that the first set is going to be the one with the most pow, so we don't have to go that hard, right? And also it kind of muffles my top end strength so that I can stay safe, because prep is hard enough. Prepping with an injury, done that. Nope, don't want to do that again. I guess I feel in control, and I think two individuals, their voices echo in my head right now, and that's going to be Jeff Alberts and my boy Cassim from N1. Jeff is always talking about supply and demand, right? And right now, I don't have the funds to pay for a whole lot of adaptation, so I have to be careful. I have to be mindful. And that's one thing I learned from Jeff. And then from my boy Kaz, it's like, when you think about it, bodybuilding is the sport of over recovery. Misloading, see, told you guys. It's hard to recover as is, so me reaching out too much can potentially make the situation worse. So again, it's admirable, but I've gotten myself in trouble in previous preps because I was so sold on I have to keep performance at a very specific level, when in fact what we're really trying to do here is just maintain what we have. And again, as admirable as it makes the end result worse. It makes makes it worse for a number of reasons. For one, you're just more tapped out, so more stressed, more fatigued, which, you know, at the end, man, geez, like, I try to make these sessions, I try to make the session RPE very similar to what maybe a little bit under what is appropriate in the off season, when I have more body fat on me, when I'm eating more, and yeah, and again, like, that session RPE, very important, because this is about like what I need in order to not just create a good workout, but to create a good training week, many weeks, again, create those runways, create that momentum, and right now I have to undershoot below that just a little bit, so I don't take a whole lot of like reps that maybe I shouldn't. A lot of my progressions involve just tracing performances, and sometimes, and this is just something that comes with experience, like I will fold and I'm like, okay, I just don't have physics on my side right now. You lose some pounds, right? That's why they have weight classes in powerlifting, right? It's like, okay, again, like, I know what is too much. I know what is, where that wall is, because I've disrespected that a number of times over the course of my training career. And again, every prep you learn a little bit more, and I know that, okay, this is about what I can do, but this is probably about what I should be doing. And in regards to like muscle retention, this is the best I've done. So far it's working, and I think if anything, as like I get closer to the show, I get leaner. I'm gonna get much leaner than this guy's. I need to be more cognizant of that and keep this objectivity that so far has been working really well. So a lot of load tracing, a lot of little things, like a big one for me that I've been battling is I'm still aware of the logbook, of course, like the sequences, of course, to trace loads. And what I mean by trace loads is like, okay, you know, I'm gonna repeat the same 3x6 this week that I have the week before, and probably the week before that one. So, but sometimes, because I want to trace it, what I'll do is I'll just kind of skip over reps. And what I mean by that is the rep isn't just the best quality rep, because I need to get to that 6. So I do some funky things on like rep 3 or 4 so that I can make it to that number when, again, I'm losing weight, losing body fat. Calories are, at least not for the time being, going to come up at any point soon. So yeah, I have to be okay with, okay, I might lose reps here. And it's a fine art, man. And I think, just like we tell noobs that, you know, before you can train in the, 6, 7, 8 RPE, still valuable places to roam around, even for a bodybuilder. You need to know what that 10 is like. And I know, again, I know all my breaking points. I know what is too much based off previous preps, and I'm gonna play to that advantage, and I'm not gonna make the same mistakes that I've done in the past. So again, it's another comparison for you guys is like, hey, you can go down the 1200 calorie deficit route, but there's consequences for that in the long term, right? Same thing, right, with this, right? It's like I'm kind of taking the more modest deficit, I guess, approach to my training. So yeah, so yes, I'm not training as hard as I do in the off season, which makes sense. But again, I know what hard is, I know what my body can take, and then because of, again, the many months I've spent throughout my whole career dieting for shows, I know, I think I know at least, we will see at the end of this, if that is, if I was roaming around the appropriate place. Again, I've made some mistakes. You guys will see some of them here during this prep still, but much less than previous times. And I'm just being a lot more honest with what it is that I can handle. This movement right here. This is, I have some pretty good delts, but I think stretching them putting them under load in the lengthened position is something that I haven't done a whole lot of throughout my training career. This is relatively new. I wanted to do this towards the end of my off season, but I had some elbow issues where like doing this was just for my left elbow, this one right here. That's my right elbow. For my left elbow, it just wasn't going to happen. So I can't wait to. We always think about that, right? What am I going to do on the other side of this? I cannot wait to. Yeah, I can't wait because I'm enjoying the shit out of this prep. To try this out with enough food and I think, man, like I can get some freakier delts, like much better than this. Like this movement, amazing. Tell you what though, when it short circuits, there is no grind on this movement. The muscle is so lengthened that when it's done, it's done. It's like someone just like cut the cable, basically. So yeah, a little ISO stuff like this, the arm stuff, you know, I do allow myself some wiggle room. I go pretty freaking hard. Oh, that's my boy Connor. Look at that dude. Fucking giant. IFBB pro. And throughout this whole prep has been one of one of the more supportive individuals. I think, you know, this is what happens, man. It's like I have a lot of competitors at this gym, which I'm fortunate. So they get it. And, you know, whenever it's someone's turn, it's like, you know, they're there for you, man. So I've definitely enjoyed taking advantage a little bit more of the local community that I'm fortunate to have at my own gym. So, and the amazing equipment, which I'm pretty fortunate. You know, there's always things you can complain about, but all in all, man, honestly, like the only thing I can really complain about is that there's so much stuff there that I have like little scars in my shins from like bumping into equipment, and that's usually because once you get the gist of where things are at, something new comes in, and whoop, I didn't see that. So yeah, I'm spoiled in that regard, man, and I think last time I spent a little bit too much time splitting time between this gym and another gym. And again, this season has been kind of me recommitting as a bodybuilder, less of a hybrid athlete. Don't get me wrong, I have some strength goals in the off season, but that I'm thinking about already. But still, I'm fortunate to have this place. So this is where I have been goofing up a little bit. So I don't think these are things that you can necessarily see. Like this is, to me, from here, it looks like a textbook RDL, but in regards to the fatigue that this is causing, how close I am to failure, especially for this particular lift, this is one that I like to respect a little bit more, for a number of different reasons, primarily safety, right? I think this is one where I have to practice that whole ascending load thing where next week I think I'm gonna go 365, 385, and then 405 if it's there. Maybe I have to repeat 385, maybe I'll come back down to 365, because again, I'm just trying to maintain, man. But I can feel it, man. After this day, unlike the days that I'm managing a bit better, I can feel it post-gym. Like I want to shut down, I don't want to do anything. And that's definitely tells me that, okay, the session RPE is probably a little bit higher than it needs to be. So yeah, your fatigue meter, man, when you were prepping, it's kind of, again, like those bars on Street Fighter, right? And or Mortal Kombat, if you're in Mortal Kombat. That's kind of where I skipped out of the gaming world. So those are the best examples I can give you. So, you know, yeah, your yellow bar isn't quite as big. It's a little bit smaller, and you need to respect that. And again, I know that if I don't, some of the downstream effects are things like just general sense of well-being, sleep, which is hyper important, which has been an issue this week, first week with that. I'll get more into that in a bit. It can make a lot of, I believe, this is kind of reaching, but I think it's a sensible reach, some of your NEAT activity outside of maybe the synthetic NEAT that, you know, you're applying if you're using steps. It can make some of that downshift a little bit because you're just beat up and don't want to do anything, you know. And the next 12 or so hours after this session, that's exactly what I feel like. But yeah, back on the sleep kick, yeah, it's been a little bit of an issue, but I think most of it is my fault. Things that I think in the off season, in regards to sleep hygiene, I can get away with, but not so much now. And like I said before, is that, sometimes what prep does is it, or any sort of like fat loss phase, to be honest, right? Because we're all somewhere when it comes to fat loss. For me, it's like full on emaciation. It just really uncovers like little leaks and things that you have wrong with your system, right? Whether it's training, lifestyle induced, right? Other miscellaneous things. And for me, I think this is starting to uncover that, okay, I think between me and Cynthia, we probably need to create, something more rigid there. And whenever I've been on top of my sleep game, it's funny. It's like you're actually more productive throughout the day. So sometimes you don't want to give up hours, but it's what you do with those hours, right? It's what you do with that volume. So that's probably going to be something that, this upcoming week I work on. And who knows, like maybe as terrible as I felt Tuesday when I was digging pretty hard coming off those refeeds, maybe it won't be nearly as bad. Which again, the less you beat up on the system as a whole, the better your physique is going to look. So this is one where, same thing, like I'm supposed to pause this, but pause and not like just lay down there on the more passive tissues. So stuff in my knees, lower back as well. Like there can be a little bit of sliding. You can't see it there, but I need to watch out for that. And again, this is me trying to make a certain rep quota. So I think next week, we're just gonna try with 3 plates and really try to just make those good and clean. And I want to get everything that I want out of every rep and not necessarily worry too much about the total output, because hey, like it might be a few less reps, but I think in regards to the stimulus, it's going to be just as potent and more clean, dare I say, right? So less fatigue attached to that, right? So that's all this stuff is leg day stuff. I think sometimes I just take it too far because I don't do a whole lot of lower body volume, at least not relative to the upper body. Although I will say, I think after this season, I think I'd like to bring up my chest, keep doing what I'm doing with my back. I have things rolling there well, and quads kind of took a backseat to a lot of things over the last few years, and I think we're going to recharge those up a bit, because I think they can be wild, man. They can be wild. And a few years ago, I was, it was me and all these dudes with like less than ideal quad attachments up on stage. So my quads looked, amazing, like all levels. Even if there wasn't weight classes at the show, like I do fine. But these dudes are getting better every year. They're catching up. So it's like, hey, well, why not make an area like that is, like comes quite natural to me, like that much more overpowering. Make it like the delts of my lower body, right? And not to mention, I plan on staying healthy, but usually with bodybuilders, as they get into their 40s, something that does happen is they lose a little of that shine off that lower body. So maybe we'll consider it a retirement fund of sorts. But I'll tell you what, in regards to knees, it's probably the one joint that, like, I don't know what they're made of, but I wish the rest of my body was made out of the same stuff. This one, love this movement. I hate single leg work, but these wedges. I went a little extra and I got the Prime USA ones, but you can find a lot of other good options online on Amazon. I've checked, and there's quite a few good ones there. I like one-time purchases, so I'd rather spend a little bit more and get something that I won't have to replace for years. Probably use this to change my oil. Like, they are sturdy little things. But this has been amazing. Like, I don't have to load it all that much. Reaching failure or near failure is a very straightforward process, which to me is definitely a hallmark of a good movement, right? When you feel like you're not necessarily fighting your body, the exercise, right, to get what you want from it from a hypertrophic standpoint. And those definitely feel that way. So yeah, man, they're moving along. I shaved my legs. That's new. And that's because I had a sparring session with my client in town, Ben. And he's gonna make 3D Muscle Journey like so proud this year. He's so complete. He's ready to not just get that pro card. I think it's a very appropriate goal for him, but I'll just get up on that pro stage and make some noise. But yeah, man, I wanted to save shaving the legs for a little bit later. I wanted to get a tad bit leaner, but you know what? It kind of worked out, and I'm like, oh, like I was thinking to myself, like my outer striations have never taken this long to kind of start to show, but no, there they are. They're fine. They're doing well. They're just covered with with some mammalian tendencies. I probably butchered that word. Tell you what, man, first show I didn't have to shave. I did not shave my pits, and that was it, and I was good. But hey, as you get older, you just pick up a little extra body hair. So this is kind of new for me. It's not much, but it's my own. And I think that was the issue with the legs this whole time, is just to have more fur there than previous years. Yeah, so this is how training's going, man. It is, yeah, having fun. Still the best part of the day by far. A little physique update for you guys, because so you guys can see where it's at. This lighting is so harsh. There's a reel that I shared on Instagram a few days ago, and you can see that the overhead lighting, I have like some faint glute striations coming in, not so much in this lighting, but the goal is, I have a ring light, I'm actually using it right here, to look diced head to toe under those conditions. If I look diced head to toe under those conditions, excuse the dog scratches on the door. Yeah, if I look diced under this lighting, then hey, it's gonna be on. It's gonna be a new PR for me in regards to conditioning. So my rolling average right now, 165 pounds. That's where I'm at. And damn, there's just so much back there. And I do think I'm going to have to get a bit under 160, but it's gonna be far leaner than anything I've done before, which honestly at this point is more exciting than scary. When I started this prep, you always have to one up the last version of yourself, and that task kind of had me feeling uneasy. But now I'm like, okay, like I'm ready for it. Like let's do it. It's funny, like old habits. It's like riding a bike. They just kind of creep in, and I'm kind of lost in the moment, these moments, this prep, and I'm gonna enjoy the shit out of it, man. From here until November. So share it with you guys as best as I can. Hey, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully a little bit leaner.